Imagine planting a seed, you water it, protect it, watch it grow. Years later, when it is finally time to taste the fruit, you realize someone has changed the rules of the harvest. The tree is still yours, yes, but the fruit, well, not quite. And that, in short, is the story of the EPFO's new reforms, where your savings grow under your care, but when it's time to reap the benefits, the rules may already have changed. Hello, namaste, and welcome. You're listening to Kahaniyat, where we turn news into narratives and questions into conversations. Today, we bring you a story of clever strategy, patience, and a bit of frustration. The story of the government's own piggy bank, the EPFO, and the recent reforms that aim to make it slightly easier to access. In the last week, the Employees Provident Fund Organisation, or the EPFO, announced a few key reforms. Now, if you're wondering what exactly the EPFO is, let us start from something we all remember from our childhood. The Gullak, that little earthen piggy bank that came in all colors and shapes where we would drop our coins one by one, saving up for special occasions. Even as we grow up, some habits stay, and the habit of saving is one such. We still save, only now instead of the humble mitti ka gullak, we have a fancier one. The government's own piggy bank, the EPFO. To make it simpler, think of it as a Sarkari-Gullak. The only difference being, while it was easy to break open our childhood Gullak, breaking this government one takes a little more effort. For millions of safely employed Indians, the EPFO isn't just a portal. It is the guardian of your hard-earned salary and sometimes your patience. Every month, it collects a portion of your earnings, adds your employer's contribution, sprinkles in some interest, and promises to return it when you need it. For instance, for retirement, emergencies, house repairs, or maybe even that Diwali gift for your neighbor. Though the reforms on paper look good and shiny, now consider this. Someone just dropped in with last year's cheap Diwali crockery wrapped in a new Pinterest-ready package. You unwrap it, you hope it's something more useful, but essentially it's the same old crockery, just dressed up differently. And speaking of dressing up, aesthetics are everywhere these days. Whether it's the food on your plate or the color of your walls, everything now has to be aesthetic. So why should the government of India stay behind? The EPFO too seems to have joined the party, not by changing what is inside, but by polishing how it looks. Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, after all, includes everyone, even those giving our Sarkari systems a makeover. Truth be told, until recently, accessing your own money felt like navigating a puzzle. Withdrawals were divided into 13 separate categories: education, marriage, illness, housing, and more. Honestly, it sounded less like finance and more like a super specialty hospital, a department for your bones, eyes, teeth, heart, the nervous system. Each withdrawal reason had its own waiting periods, proof requirements, and limit. Because of this complicated process, people used to withdraw only what they could, leaving the rest untouched, frustrated, and muttering, why even bother? And now, EPFO promises simplification. You can withdraw up to 75% of your eligible balance, including your employer's contribution, while 25% must stay untouched. The 13 categories are condensed into 3 doors: essential needs, housing, and special circumstances. A uniform 12-month service requirement applies for most withdrawals. If you lose your job, you need to wait 12 months for full withdrawal. For pension contributions, the waiting period is 36 months. For simpler cases, they even promise auto-settlement. The system opens the door itself, but it's no secret how the government portals work. We've all been kicked out of our own accounts, faced cryptic errors, and experienced that unique brand of bureaucratic suspense. So auto-settlement may sound like a dream, but only time will tell how smooth it really is. On paper, the reforms give greater access to your money, including employer contribution, while ensuring some funds remain untouched for the future. But in practice, it still feels confusing, restrictive, and occasionally, well, frustrating. The shiny new wrapper may glimmer, but the crockery inside is largely the same. And as we record this, the EPFO has come forward with a clarification. Following widespread backlash on social media, it has now stated that 75% of your provident fund can be withdrawn immediately after you leave your job, and the remaining 25% after a year's employment, which, by the way, wasn't quite the case when these reforms were first rolled out. If anything, this reminds us that the public feedback, when amplified, can still push for course correction and strengthens our belief in those very first constitutional words, we the people. Because it is, after all, we the people who can shape changes quietly, collectively, and when it matters the most. And if there are people shouting their throats and lungs out from national platforms calling this a masterstroke, just remember the GST story. The infamous GST implementation and the rollback. Another shiny headline, another pot that looks full on the surface, a Dasera gift perhaps, but look closer and the real substance may still be buried under pebbles. So the next time someone shouts from a national platform, pause and ask yourself, is this really protecting your interest or just performing for applause? It is not the wrapping that decides the worth of the gift. What truly matters is what lies inside. And that is what we at Kahaniyat are trying to remind ourselves and you. Stories shape societies. This isn't about who decorates the gift the prettiest. It's about the substance within. Remember, what's meaningful isn't always shiny on the surface, but it's what is preserved, understood, and carried forward. And who knows, if EPFO keeps baffling us, maybe the neighborhood uncle with his trusty ledger and the ever so young and ever energetic chit fund scheme starts looking like a safer bet. Until next time, keep asking questions that matter. Do share your thoughts in the comments below. And if this conversation made you think, please like, share and subscribe to Kahaniyat, because as we believe, stories are meant to be heard and remembered.